Welcome back to my channel. Drop a comment of where you are listening from and what you like so far. Please like and subscribe, as it helps me reach more wonderful people like you. So Beau and Madison are about to explore their attraction to each other. Let's see how they do it. Beau and Madison walked leisurely toward his building. When they reached it, the door attendant opened the door for them and Beau led her to the elevator banks. At his door, he released her hand to unlock it and ushered her in. He took Madison on a hurried tour. The apartment had 2 bedrooms, one he used as an office, tastefully decorated, and yet lacking warmth. It didn't have that lived-in feeling. For Beau, it was just a place to hang his hat. Once in the living room again, he offered her a drink. Madison asked for water, and he joined her in a chilled bottle. The moment of truth had arrived, and he didn't know what to say. There was so much he wanted to say, but kissing her seemed the most urgent thing he wanted to do. So, he did. Madison didn't pull away, glad that she was finally able to satisfy her curiosity. She stood on tippy toes to meet his lips. 1 minute she was standing, and the next, he had scooped her up in his arms, and they were on the move. Not once did their lips break contact as Beau carried her to his bedroom. Once there, he allowed her to slide down his body to the carpeted floor. "I want to make love with you," Beau stated. Madison stepped back to stare into his face. She recognized the hunger in his features, but she shook her head. "I know. I'm sorry if I led you to believe that I'd get in bed with you. I'm a Christian and I just can't." "I'm really attracted to you, Madison, and I'm ashamed to say this, but I'm a Christian too. I think we should get out of here before we forget ourselves," Beau said, his voice rough. "No, wait. Why don't we just talk in the living room?" Madison suggested. "We could, but I don't think it's a good idea," Beau said. "Why?" asked Madison. "That's because I keep wanting to do this," Beau said as he pulled her back into his arms. He kissed her softly. Madison pushed away slowly. She really enjoyed his kiss and felt torn between wanting him to kiss her again and listening to her good sense. "Mr. Jackson, perhaps you're right. We should leave." "Please call me Beau," he said, and lowered his head to kiss her again. This time, Madison kissed him back longingly. When they finally came apart, Beau smiled down at her. On impulse, he reached over to pull the hair clasp from her hair. Her hair spilled like a waterfall onto her shoulders and face. "Is there a man that I have to explain why you're here with me?" he asked as he swiped hair from her face. "No, is there a woman I'll have to explain things to?" "No, and with that being said, I have to ask you one other question," Beau said, his eyes boring into hers. Madison was busy running her hands up and down his arms and shoulders. "What's that?" "Can we get the heck out of here? My brain wants one thing while the rest of me wants, well, you know." Madison smiled despite her heart hammering in her chest. "I know what you mean." The walk back to the salon wasn't pleasant at all. Each had thoughts that worried them. When they got back, Beau went straight to work, forcing his thoughts to stay on task. Madison stayed as far away from him without being too obvious about it. This attraction they had for each other was strong, and had they not left his apartment, she would have caved and slept with him. Finally, when he felt confident enough to say civil things, he asked her if she'd go out with him. "I don't think it is a good idea, Beau," replied Madison. Beau gritted his teeth. "Woman, you are killing me," he said. After putting his tools away, Madison led the way out of the store. Beau suddenly blocked her way and pulled her into his arms. "I'm sorry, I thought I could control myself. I hadn't meant for this to happen." "This isn't something I meant to happen either, Beau. Never in a million years would I think about going to bed with a man I'd known less than 24 hours. I'm apologizing, because you shouldn't be treated like an afternoon quickie. You deserve better, and I am sorry." "You know, Beau, until you said that, all I was feeling was embarrassed, and now I feel cheap too," Madison told him sadly. She realized that her hair clasp was somewhere in his apartment. Instead, she combed her fingers through it and left it alone. She no longer felt attracted to him. She was too angry. "Madison, No, no, Beau, you don't get to say anything else. You will drive me back and you and I need never see each other again," Madison told him angrily. Beau drove her back to the salon quickly. Once he was parked in front of the building, Madison quickly jumped out and entered the building without looking back. He waited until she was inside before speeding off. There was so much he wanted to say to her. What he'd said to her at the store came out wrong, and she took it wrong. He meant no disrespect. He felt that she deserved to be treated better than that. Instead, he made her feel cheap. That's what she said. She also said that they would never see each other again. She was wrong. Even now, after her angry words, he wanted her. He wanted to hold her in his arms to erase all the hurt his words caused her. She wasn't a quickie nor a cheap lay. She was the kind of woman a man courted. He didn't know if he was that man, but that's the kind of man she deserved. Madison entered the building and waved absent-mindedly at the receptionist. She didn't want to talk with anyone. The elevator was empty, and she was grateful. Now, if only she could avoid talking with her daughters, life would be just peachy. She entered her office and hurried to her desk to pull out the vial of migraine medicine she kept there. She hadn't needed any for months, but this headache threatened to turn into a migraine if she couldn't catch it in time. She had her head down when the girls burst in. "Mom, I was about to call you. What took you so long? Are all the computers done at the new salon?" asked Brittany. Madison lifted her head to glare at them. "Why are you giving me the third degree? The computers are done, and that man sent his crew to another job, so he had to do them all by himself." "And it took most of the afternoon?" Amber asked skeptically. "He took a break for lunch, so yes, Amber, it did." Madison stood up to face them. "I think I'll go home now. We're still on for dinner, so I'll go get an early start. I'm going to call David to cancel this evening's ride." "So, how are you getting home?" Brittany asked. Her mother gave her a quick smile. "I'll drive your car, and you can ride with Amber. Go get your keys, Brittany." Amber trailed behind her to the office. "What do you think put her in this mood?" Brittany asked. "I think Mr. Jackson made a pass at her, and now she's worked up a migraine." "I don't want Mom upset, Amber. Maybe we should tell Mr. Jackson to back off." Amber shook her head. "No, I say we give the man some room. Did you see how nervous he made her? None of those escorts she uses has ever made her nervous. And besides, if she's busy with a man, she won't be bothering you about yours," she pointed. "I'm not sneaking around with Maurice. You're the one skulking in the shadows with Dylan," Brittany insisted. "Whatever, the important thing is that she loosens up and have some fun for a change. The salons have been her life for a long time, and I think it's time something else becomes her focus." Madison entered the office, silencing the girls. "Brittany, keys, please." "Be careful, Mom," Brittany warned as she placed the keys in her mother's outstretched hand. "I will. See you girls later." "Whew, that was close," Amber breathed. "Yeah, if this thing backfires, I'm telling her it was your idea," Brittany said. Amber stuck her tongue out at her and shooed her away from her desk. Madison rarely drove anymore. Before business picked up as it did, she was always behind the wheel running errands, driving the girls around. One day, she just couldn't do it anymore. That day, she packed overnight bags for the girls, picked them up from school, and drove them to her mother's house and left. She ended up in a motel and slept for 3 days. She returned home an empty shell. Her mother insisted she see someone and was promptly diagnosed with a form of anxiety. For a long time after that, she was afraid to drive. The first thing she did when she got home was shower. She even washed her hair because Beau had run his fingers through it. She wanted to wash away every memory of his touch. In the kitchen, Madison went to work. She enjoyed cooking. It was the one thing she and her mother did together. They had recipes handed down from mother to daughter going back at least 3 generations. She hummed to herself as she prepared their meal. It had been a long while since they dined together, so Madison made string beans, fried chicken mashed potatoes with gravy, and for dessert, she made the peach cobbler. Madison was in her home office when she heard the girls come in, getting up from her desk and away from the discovery that her own desktop computer had somehow caught the virus that destroyed the ones at the salons. She turned it off for fear that it might get worse and lose some data. "Mom, where are you?" Amber called out. "In the office," she replied. Madison went out to meet them and stopped short. Beau Jackson was standing in her foyer, holding his hat and toolkit. What was he doing standing in her foyer? "Oh, hey, Mom. I was trying to tell you that we had company. You remember Mr. Jackson? I asked him to come see your computer. Earlier, I sent you an email concerning the candidates before I realized that we'd caught that virus. I'm sorry. Beau stood there staring at her with those knowing eyes. Ms. Blake, nice to see you again. Your daughters are very persuasive. I couldn't say no. Amber insisted that I see your computer right away, he said. Madison squirmed under his gaze. I just found out that it's compromised. It is a good thing that you're here. Come, it's this way. Madison turned toward her office. She didn't wait to see if he was following. Once in the office, she closed the door and turned to him. You could have said no, she told him coldly. As I said, your daughters are very persuasive, he answered with a smile. You have a lovely home. Mr. Jackson, you're here to fix the computer, so fix it, she hissed at him. She turned on her heel and walked out of the office. She found the girls setting the table in the dining room giggling. They set 4 places. Is he finished installing the software already? Brittany asked. Madison shook her head. No, he just started. She eyed the 4th place setting. You've asked him to stay for dinner too? Yes, I didn't think it'd be polite to bring him all this way and not ask him to stay for dinner, Mom. Especially how we bragged about how great a cook you are. No, I guess not. I'll be right back. Madison returned to her office. Beau looked busy with her computer. It looked like he'd taken the tower apart. He was kneeling on the floor beside it. He looked up when she entered the office and then back to what he was doing. Will you be finished soon? She asked him. In a bit. You have an old computer, Madison. You should consider getting a newer model. I don't use it much, she admitted. He snapped the tower's cover back in place and stood up. She'd changed, he noticed. She was wearing a simple flowered skirt and blouse. Her legs were bare and she was wearing flats. When he walked past her earlier, he'd caught the faint scent of her shampoo. She must have washed her hair too. Too bad she was wearing it down. He would have loved to watch it spill down like it had done at his place. The memory of her sweet body pressed close to him when he'd kissed her had played over and over in his mind all afternoon. He'd been useless at his other appointments. He'd given his crew a bogus excuse and left them. Then he drove back to the salon to see Madison to try to explain, but her daughters told him that she'd gone for the day. He'd confessed that he and their mother had had a disagreement, and he'd come back to apologize. It was flimsy, but the girls bought it. That was when Amber came up with her brilliant idea. She explained that she'd shot her mother an email earlier and was sure her mother's home computer had caught the virus. She insisted that he accompany them home so he could fix it and talk to their mother. He was skeptical, but here he was standing in front of her. She was angry and she was trying to control herself. It was a waste of effort on him. Angry Madison was sexy. Like I said, your daughters are very persuasive. Besides, you're getting your computer fixed, which, by the way, is in bad shape. I'll have to take it back with me to rebuild. How old is it anyway? You will do no such thing, screeched Madison. He'd have to come back here, she thought. Oh, but I've already taken it apart, Beau replied as he pointed to the scattered boards on the floor beside his toolkit. Look, you and I both know that you're not angry that I took your computer apart. If you'd listened to me earlier, you wouldn't be so angry now. What I wanted to say came out wrong. I realized immediately that you weren't the kind of woman I'm used to. You're a classy, educated, and very successful businesswoman. I'm not sorry we kissed, just sorry for the way it happened. Will you keep your voice down? Hissed Madison. She didn't know how she'd face the girls if they knew how close she came to sleeping with the man. I'd like to make it up to you. Let me take you to dinner. What do you say? I meant what I said back there. I don't want to see you. After dinner, you will leave and never come back. If I see you again, it'll be business and nothing more. While she was talking, she hadn't noticed that he was moving and was standing close enough to touch. Admit it. You want to see me as much as I want to see you, Beau said. You're wrong, and for appearance's sake, I will be civil to you tonight. We should agree that what happened earlier will never happen again. Beau stepped even closer. I can see it in your eyes, Madison. You do want it to happen again. That's not true, she protested quickly. Beau stretched out his hand to run his index finger up and down her bare arm. Eyes never lie, Madison. If your daughters weren't in the other room, I could have you right now. Madison stepped away from him, very much aware that what he said was true. She would never admit it to him, though. You are a vile, despicable man, she hissed at him. A knock broke the tension between them, and Madison opened the door to Amber. Dinner is ready. Is the computer fixed? She asked. No, he took it apart and says that I need a new one, Madison told her and walked out. I don't know about you, but I'm totally enjoying this story. What do you think will happen next? Comment how you'd handle the situation. Bye for now and stay blessed.